to Sit Down with the Superintendent, presented by GCHS TV. Join us as we welcome Greenup County Superintendent Tracy Moracey to our roundtable discussion hosted by GCHS students. Now, here are your hosts, Aaliyah Grayson and Taylor Gammon.
Good afternoon. Welcome to this week's edition of Sit Down with the Superintendent with Greenup County Superintendent Tracy Moracey.
Taylor Gammon. Welcome back, Ms. Moracey.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you, Aaliyah. It's good to be here, and I'm sorry I missed you last week. It's tough to get all this scheduled in, but I want to be here as much as I can. So thank you for having me.
We had an extended weekend. What did you do over your weekend?
A basketball game, an academic team meet, and another basketball game. So nothing for myself, but it was good to get out and see, and I enjoyed watching my kids, my own children. My daughter was in middle school academic meet, and then my son was playing some basketball, so I got to see them both in action. It was good.
So I've heard about the Superintendent Student Council because I'm on it. So
You on it? Oh, I'm kidding.
So what are your ideas for this, and where did you get, did another school inspire?
Honestly, I've just been reading a lot of research about the importance of having the people who are sitting in the chair to have a little input. And so a lot of the research says that your best cultures and your highest achieving districts have students who get to have a say in things. So I kind of took it from just voice surveys to take years ago. A couple of other superintendents have just a small little panel that helped with a couple of things, and I thought, well, I could take this and kind of do a spin-off of our student council that we have, plus take it all the way down to middle school so they can get some say in things, and that's kind of how it all came about. So I dreamed it up. I really am hopeful that it gives everyone a voice, because instead of doing a vote where that it would have to be kids that are known throughout the district to get on, I wanted it to be something where that people vouched for themselves by their grades, their attendance, their recognition. And so when I got those in, it made making decisions very easy, because it was easy to see that people had worked hard in school, they had good grades, the teachers they chose highly recommended them. So it was easy to see, and I had a hard time not including someone because they were also viable. So we have a large council, but I think it'll be very effective.
So this is a personal question, but I know there are a lot of other people who want to know that are on the student council. When is the first meeting, or have you decided?
I have not decided, but I'm looking at having it in February. I tend to try to have things when I do meetings. It could be February, mid-February. That way you have plenty of time to get it on your schedule. Okay. So it will just probably be within the second week. So.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Taylor?
So with all the sickness that's been going around the school lately, how do you feel about that?
I feel good. No, I'm kidding. Well, I feel that we are watching attendance closely. So every day around 9 a.m., I have Miss Dondi Wagner, who is our new attendance clerk at central office. She pulls all the data from each school, and there's even a special code they put in Infinite Campus for attendance that says student has flu. So we're actually tracking how many flu cases are in the district. Right now we're at 48, which when you factor in that we have over 2,700 students, 48 is a terrible thought, but it could be worse. I don't want to jinx us, but it could be worse. So our district right now is sitting at about 91% attendance, so it's very evenly spread out. So we're just kind of watching it and doing extra work in the evenings with the custodians, making sure that things are getting wiped down. The weekend, Friday, we did a much more intensive job, and that helped a little bit. And we saw a dramatic difference. Yesterday we were at 89, so we're actually going back up.
So
we're improving.
Like Lewis County last week was out the last couple of days. Do we have like a certain % of students that have to be out for us to
You
do
need
that?
to be in the low 80s for
Okay.
a couple of days in a row to have that kind of drop. And with the size of population that we have, getting into the low 80s it means a large amount of students. And here's the thing I think about, guys. I know everybody loves a snow day. Everyone enjoys a good stay home on the couch, people are sick day. But you also think about the kids who might be at home that don't necessarily have great heat, who don't necessarily have a warm meal. And so as much as it's fun for some people to, be out and about or at home, it's not so great for some kids. So it's very important to get them here, keep them on a routine, keep it structured, and make sure that they get a good solid education 5 days a week.
So do you predict we'll have any snow days this year? Because I think we've had some for like flooding.
We had 2 for flooding, and the ultimate goal is no snow days. I know that is the worst possible answer for all students, but we watch it closely. I'm actually in a group text. Probably sounds very strange, but I'm in a group text with about 12 other superintendents. And so we kind of keep in touch to let each other know, how's your flu going? What's your weather looking like? How's your flooding? Just to kind of keep ourselves on the same page, because our county is so large. We border Lewis, we border Carter, we border Boyd, but then we also have several students who maybe aren't even within our county and they drive in. So they might drive in from Russell, they might drive in from Raceland, they may drive in from downtown Ashland, Catlettsburg. So we really try to make sure we're all in touch with each other. And that gives me an idea as to what our students that are driving are going to have to face in the mornings. So the other morning, I was more worried about fog. Do you guys remember fog last week? Fog was really bad. And I was really concerned about our bus drivers in the mornings because they get there so early. They were really having to take it slow because you couldn't see very far in front of you. And those little curvy roads, that can be a little test.
So would that ever be a reason that like we would have a delay or something?
I would probably be laughed out of the state if I closed us for fog, and I would say a lot of parents would be pretty upset with me. So no, I don't think we'll close for fog, but the good news is we have some pretty well-trained drivers. So.
Okay, so my friend showed me on her Twitter last week that Argolite has a suggestion box. Can you tell us about that?
It is something that I mentioned to principals. It's really their option as to whether or not they want to do it. And Mr. Crump, he just kind of remembered it in the back of his head and went forward with it. Just as I want your input by having the student council, I also think it's important for our individual schools to get the input of the visitors in the building. So when parents come to pick up, some are not people who want to schedule an appointment, or and they're not ones who want to go onto Facebook and do a not recommend. Instead, they might want to say, "Hey, Julie at the front office was super helpful today. Thanks so much." Or they might want to say, "I waited in line for like 5 minutes at 2 o'clock to get my kid. Is there some extra help we can get up front?" So without being big complainers, they can comfortably put something in that box. Something we need to change, or to give us applaud things that we're doing well. So I think it really makes it more open for more people who will speak up, because not everyone is accustomed to going and making an appointment and talking to the principal. So it's just to open up that communication.
Okay.
Do you think in the future a suggestion box is something we could get here at the high school?
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't hard. It wasn't hard to make it. I think actually Mary Kay Roark McGinnis, she actually donated that box to Argolite through something they had at Bellefonte or a church. So it was not hard for Mr. Crump to get a box, and then they just decorated it. They painted it and put some letters on it with a cricket. So it wasn't a difficult thing. So I think a box would be very easy. That's just kind of up to your staff, and even if GCHS TV wanted to make a comment box, they could have one for themselves. So just a thought.
The Daily Independent recently mentioned that Greenup schools will be offering a daycare starting next year. Why are we doing this?
There is a strong need in the Wortland area for our parents to have a choice on days that their kids are not in school at preschool. So most of our preschool dates are every other day. So kids will go on Mondays and Thursdays, or they'll go on
Tuesday and Friday and Wednesday. That makes it very difficult for parents who need care 5 days a week.
So it's really intended to coincide with our preschool so that parents have educational options for days that they're not in preschool. So the curriculum will be very similar, food will be provided, so it'll be something that will be just an extension of what we already offer. There are some facilities in the South Shore end that kind of help cover that and do the wraparound services, but we did not have anything on the Wortland end. And sometimes that makes parents go, well, another district offers it 5 days, we're going to take them there. So in order to become a little bit more marketable as well and serve our own people, we really wanted to put something out there. So that's the plan.
So are we looking at just preschool ages, or?
It will be preschool ages, but there will be some space for a little bit of after-school care.
So how many kids are you expecting?
There is a limit based on how many you can have per day, because you can only have so many per worker. You can't, it's just like with a classroom, you can't have more than you're allowed legally. So I believe we're going to try to stay in the 20 range. So it will not take long to fill up.
So when are we going to registration?
We will do registration coincides when we start registration and kindergarten registration.
So starting this spring, we'll get started on asking people to come and bring their paperwork and get signed up for kindergarten. When people move into kindergarten, that opens up spots, which allows us to start enrolling for preschool and then also this program.
Student council has been trying to get coffee for students in the mornings. Have you heard about this, and what are your thoughts?
I've heard a little about it. I do know that Miss Barb came and talked to the student council maybe last week, and they discussed the options, and there were several things I think they proposed. I'm not really for sure what they all were, but there were some things beyond just coffee. I think what she was looking at was safety, eating concern. So have to look at that and what the cost as waste would be. So with that said, another option that's about to happen, we have a couple of elementary schools who are about to take on the Warrior Cafe. You've heard about that at Wortland Elementary. They're about to franchise and going to expand some other elementary schools. If you happen to be a neighbor and you're driving by on your way to school, you could stop for a cup of coffee from a 5th grader too. So, but it is something that we're not completely opposed to having coffee in the schools. We understand a lot of you guys like to drink it. I personally, I will tell you, 4 cups a day, I'll be honest. It's a problem. I know it is, and it's probably why I order things so quickly of my people. But anyway, so yes, I would love to see it. Don't know for sure if it can happen because we also have to look at the legalities on nutrition. So I don't know that coffee has a ton of nutritional value, so we're going to have to look at that too.
Yeah, I know that they wanted high C at lunch and it had too much sugar in it, so we got turned down for that.
But there was something different that you were getting instead. What's that called? There's some kind of little quick drink that's from when you were little. A little bit. Swish. Thank you, off camera.
Oh, yeah,
Swish.
the Switch.
You're
yeah.
getting Switch. So I do know that.
I did. I seen that actually. I seen
Yeah.
that like.
Okay. So
yeah.
I think we used to have them in like 5th grade.
Yeah, we
That's the last
did.
time I've seen them.
I
Okay.
actually liked them, and they don't have caffeine in them, so that's like good. I might actually have to get some.
Healthier
of those.
yeah.
option.
So she's trying is all I can say.
We
And
got them, so.
yeah, you're. And I'll be
honest, do you enjoy getting feedback and ever find a person who cares more about the quality of what
the kitchen is putting out there so that the kids want to eat. It only makes them better at learning, makes them feel better about themselves whenever they have a full stomach. So she really wants it to be something appealing. I think the whole staff does. So I'm glad you have your Switch.
Yeah,
I will tell
didn't
her.
even correlate the two things. I was like,
I will tell her. She'll be excited.
yeah.
Okay.
Last month you mentioned that you have some ideas to help the drama program. What are those ideas?
Okay. A couple of the ideas I have. For one, I'm going to talk to the Board of Education, I don't know if you're aware, but the competitive drama team actually, the teacher does not get a stipend. You know how most coaches get stipends to take you to after-school events. So I'd like to try to look at putting a little bit more funding that way, is to make sure that there's enough support there. Then, of course, the other part is the facility planning. A long-term plan would be to look at trying to get a stage area of some sort where our kids can have a nice auditorium, something to be proud of. When we do presentations, when we do award ceremonies, when we do musicals and dance, I think it would be important to have all the things that other area schools have. So I would like to get that. And I heard we couldn't host something last year, and that really wasn't so great. So I wanna make sure we're able to do what we can for kids.
Okay.
Okay.
So what are your opinions on our program we've put together so far just in a few months? As
This
in our
program
class?
in this
Yes.
class, it's impressive. First of all, if anybody would just want to come see what they're doing behind the scenes, every time I come, there's something new that's being added or improved. And so I come in one day and it's a cloth, and we're kind of sitting and we have microphones, which I'm completely impressed with, just the fact that they're all talking on their cell phones and they're doing work on their cell phones. It's not just, I don't think they're secretly messaging about me, but they might be. But then, you come in and you have great lighting, you have great backdrops now. I mentioned just that I was having trouble seeing which camera to look at, and I come back today and there's LCD lighting on cameras to tell me which one to go to. So I really like that you guys all sit down and discuss afterwards how the show goes, and you come up with input as to what you want to improve yourselves. So, I just mentioned, hey, I don't know which camera to look at, and I come back and there's lights on it. So you're really, really responsive to making changes on the fly, making it better. And 2 great hosts. Very nice.
Thank
But so
you.
far,
Thank
everybody's been great when they've hosted, super respectful in the questions. I don't get a terrible question thrown at me that I feel like I can somewhat answer. So I really appreciate that. And just, I can see growth. I know you guys may not see it yourselves, but the confidence you have as to, when I first came, Mr. Collier was having to help you put stuff together. I didn't see him until like a minute before we went on air today. He didn't come in here because he didn't have to. So that's important that he just trusts you. We did mic check several times. You self-adjusted and said, hey, you're going to talk like that. You need to speak up. So I just think it's impressive. You're really a good team. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we're starting to run out of time, but if you have an idea for a show or a question like the panel to present to Ms. Moracy, you can email it to Mr. Collier at the email address at the bottom of the screen. So that will do for this week's show. Join us next week for another sit down with Ms. Moracy right here on GCHS TV. For the entire GCHS TV and Ms. Moracy, I'm Taylor Gammon.
And I'm Aaliyah Grayson. Thank you for watching and have a great afternoon.
Thanks, guys.